Welcome to EmployeeConnect. In this video, you'll learn how to use the Lifecycle change request form. So first of all, you need to make sure that you're logged in and that you have admin privileges, which means that you'll be able to see the HR drop-down in the top menu. From here, navigate to HR People. And then on the left-hand side, navigate to Lifecycle. Now don't worry if your Lifecycle menu looks different, because it will from client to client as you customized it. And then you'll want to move down to the section that says movement, and you'll see here where there's a new change request, which is where of course you can initiate a brand new change request to an employee. The change status, which is where the workflow of the change request will be pending. And then the change history, where you can see the history of all of the changes that you've made to employees in the system. So to kick one off, all you'll need to do is click on New Change Request. And it will give you a list of all of your employees. So all you need to do is click on the plus icon of the employee that you would like to make a change request for. So for example, let's do one here for Hermione. And it will then take you to the form where you can change certain information about the employee. And that is really their position assignment, their employment agreement, and their remuneration or their pay details. Now by default, the form will surface all of the information that's already defined about the employee. So you can see here that Hermione already has her position defined, she has an employment agreement, and her pay has been defined as well. Now you can combine all of these different attributes or sections to also generate a word merged template. Now you'll need to work with an EmployeeConnect consultant to build in your templates into the system, but again, the purpose of all of this is to generate a letter that you can give to the employee that stipulates the changes to their employment, their position assignment, or their pay. Okay? And again, you don't need to change all of these, you can just change the few things that are changing. So for example, we might say that Hermione is going to be going from part-time to full-time, and that's the only change that we're making, that's totally fine. All you'll need to do is define the effective date, so when does this come into effect? So we might say that this happens next month. You can also put an effective end date if you'd like. Again, that would only be relevant for a fixed term contract or something like that, so I'm going to leave that blank. And most importantly, you need to select a change reason. Okay, so we might put here that, this is just a restructure. Again, these list value drop-downs are changeable per client. So again, just connect with an EmployeeConnect consultant to change those to how you see fit. Okay, and then all you do is you click Save. The system will then aggregate all of those changes together and it will do it all in one go, rather than individually going in and changing someone's position assignment or their employment agreement or their remuneration. Okay? It will also generate a workflow for you. Now after you've initiated that, you'll want to go to Lifecycle again, and this time you'll want to go to Change Status. In here you can see that the top one is for the change that we just made for Hermione. Okay. Now again, you'll need to work with an EmployeeConnect consultant to define what your lifecycle change workflow is, and you can define that to however you'd like. Okay. You can also check on the status of that at any point by clicking on the workflow number, and that will show you where it's at. And once it's approved, it will then generate the letter. And that's then when you can click on the little envelope icon that would appear next to Hermione once the workflow is approved. And you can then send out an email to Hermione saying that, please see the changes attached of your employment. You can also then go to the change history report, and that will show you and aggregate the changes that you've ever made to an employee. So we can only see here that for Roland and for Remus, okay, that these are the only two employees where we've gone through the workflow and approved it and issued an email and a letter to an employee. And all it does is it shows you all of the new details. So you can see there, new position, new org unit ID, cost center, location, etc. And all of the previous information. Again, you can see that I've got some blanks here. This is just test data. Okay, it's just comparing the old data with the new data. And again, really, that's a really brief overview of the lifecycle change request functionality in EmployeeConnect. And again, it's just designed to aggregate position assignment changes, employment agreement changes, and pay or remuneration changes for an employee, all in one go that's workflowed, rather than manually going into the employment section and changing someone's agreement, into the pay section and changing someone's salary, and into the organization menu and changing their position assignment. So it aggregates all of those three functions together, which is really, really quite powerful. And that's how you use the lifecycle change request functionality in EmployeeConnect.